Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 290. A couple of weeks ago, Ghislaine Maxwell and her legal team shared with the world that they had found critical, bombshell new information, and that it was going to change everything, and that was why the deposition should be kept secret. Well, today, Judge Allison Nathan told her and her legal team that that is not the case, it's not going to work, and her request was denied. This has been an ongoing theme for Ghislaine Maxwell and her legal team pretty much since the beginning of her case. Her team has attempted to make all kinds of moves. Her team has attempted to use all sorts of loopholes. And at every turn, they have been slapped down and denied. Our article today is from the Miami Herald, and the author is Ben Wider. Headline: Ghislaine Maxwell's bid to keep testimony from Epstein accuser's suit secret suffers setback. So again, Ghislaine Maxwell and her legal team are going to do a lot of this, folks, right? We've talked about this. They're going to do a lot of this sort of maneuvering. They're going to do whatever it takes to keep this deposition from reaching public consumption. They do not want you, me, or anybody else to see what is in that deposition. Because like I said, even though we know a lot of the stuff, even though we know what it contains for the most part, once it's on that page, once you can download that PDF, once you can read it for yourself, it is so much more impactful than just hearing about it or hearing tidbits about it. It becomes the reality of the situation, right? Once you have it in front of you, once you're looking at it, it becomes a lot more tangible. And that's what they're trying to avoid here. And they've done everything in their power to try and keep this deposition from reaching the public. And in this case, this stunt was, they said they found this crucial new information. And the information that they found in the criminal trial would help the civil portion of their case, right? It would help them keep it sealed because of what they had uncovered. And that was what the hearing was about. And obviously, Judge Nathan was not on board. She was not buying what they were selling. Ghislaine Maxwell's quest to block the unsealing of her 2016 deposition from a civil suit brought by one of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged survivors was dealt a major blow Wednesday when a federal judge in Maxwell's criminal case blocked the release of critical new information that Maxwell had sought to share as justification for keeping the deposition secret. So she wanted to use this so-called new information that was unearthed in her criminal case in her civil case. And it was not going to cut the mustard. It was not going to happen. And Judge Nathan ruled that way. And like I said just a little bit ago, this has become a reoccurring theme for Ghislaine Maxwell and her legal team as they try to navigate through this very challenging case. And you're going to see a lot more of this. They're going to attempt all sorts of things. And I'll even say it, all sorts of stunts. Once the pressure is really ramped up, once you see this become a RICO case in its full glory, you will see more legal maneuvering like this from Ghislaine Maxwell and her legal team. Maxwell's legal team has argued that the deposition should remain under seal so that she can get a fair trial in her criminal case, for which she faces 4 counts of sexual trafficking of a minor and 2 counts of perjury. And remember, this case has been shot up the ladder for appeals, right? So the appeals court is going to take a look at it. They're going to see what's what. And then they will make their ruling on what they think about if the document should be sealed or unsealed or what may have you. But as of right now, Judge Nathan for sure is saying, I don't, one way or the other, has no bearing on what I have going on. The answer is no. But after 14 single-spaced pages of heated rhetoric, the defendant proffers no more than vague, speculative, and conclusory assertions as to why that is the case. U.S. District Judge Allison Nathan wrote in denying the request. So basically what she's saying there is the defense provided 14 pages of BS, hot air, garbage, vague, speculation, and conclusory assertions, meaning there was nothing to back any of it up. It was all just BS nonsense that her legal team put together, put into a briefing, and sent over to the judge, basically. That's what Judge Nathan is saying here in denying it. And it wasn't a easy letdown here, right? She goes hard in the paint, calling it heated rhetoric, speculative, conclusory assertions, vague. All of that stuff, all of those words matter, and it shows you that Judge Nathan, she might not be rolling her eyes physically, but she most certainly is rolling her eyes mentally as she wades her way through all of the nonsense that Ghislaine Maxwell's legal team is attempting to present. Maxwell, Epstein's reputed madam, co-conspirator, fellow child abuser, general all-around scumbag, was arrested on July 2nd at a 156-acre New Hampshire estate where she had been hiding out. She had toured the property under an assumed name, and the property was purchased last December through a shell company. Again with the shell companies, right? I know we know that already, and we know the details around her arrest and her purchasing the property. But every single time we talk about someone like Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein, or you name it, inevitably, in the conversation, we have to discuss insert shell company here. And I don't know about you. I don't know anybody that has any shell companies whatsoever. And I know some pretty successful business people. In late July, filings for the shell company were changed to list Maxwell's longtime friend and Los Angeles lawyer, Leah Safian. Maxwell is accused in the criminal case of recruiting and grooming 3 girls for Epstein to abuse between 1994 and 1997. In one case, she is alleged to have participated in the abuse herself. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, what the hell? What's with just these charges? Why through these years? And my answer to that is, these are placeholder charges, right? These are the charges that they were using to initiate the arrest. These are the charges that they are using to hold her. And of course, the case is ongoing, it's going to bloom, and it most certainly is growing. We know that the grand jury is still in session. We know that they're investigating, and I am about 99% sure that they have already returned sealed indictments. Now, the question becomes, are any of those people that are named in those sealed indictments aware of what's going on and, in turn, have decided to cooperate with the government, and that is why they have not been arrested, which is quite possible, but who knows? My gut tells me, and again, I have no evidence to back this up, remember, this is just speculation on my part, that there are multiple people who are facing sealed indictments in the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell criminal enterprising ring as we speak. The million-dollar question is, who are they? Maxwell's presence as an adult woman helped put the victims at ease as Maxwell and Epstein intended. Audrey Strauss, the acting U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, said in announcing the charges against her at a July news conference. And again, it's very odd to me and very different that the prosecutor's office conducted themselves the way they have in this Maxwell and Epstein case, with being forthright with information. They usually play this stuff really close to the vest. So I was pretty shocked when the whole Andrew stuff came out about how they requested an interview, etc., etc. And also, I think that Audrey Strauss and the strategy that they're using is, while not something that is normal for the Department of Justice, I think it's a good strategy in this case because it's very important to rattle cages here. And these people need to understand that just because Epstein is dead and Maxwell is in jail, that they are not getting a pass. Maxwell was arrested nearly 1 year after Epstein faced new sex charges. Epstein has been accused of abusing dozens of girls, and the Herald reported on the extraordinarily lenient sentence he received in 2008 in its Perversion of Justice series. The renewed attention to Epstein's sentence contributed to the new charges and led then U.S. Labor Secretary Alex Acosta, who had approved the sentence as the U.S. Attorney for Southern Florida, to resign from President Donald Trump's cabinet. I think that Alexander Acosta should have never even been in the position to have to resign from that cabinet seat. I don't think he should have ever been anywhere near the Secretary of Labor position, considering his role in this Jeffrey Epstein situation. But at the same time, as I've stated a lot here on the podcast, I don't believe that Alex Acosta is the be-all, end-all. I don't think he's where we stop. I don't think he's the person who made the final call here. Well, you don't think he has a boss? You have to understand that the Department of Justice is a bureaucracy. And the people who signed off on this are even more responsible than Acosta, in my opinion, because they were the ones with the power to say, hey, what are you doing, bro? This dude needs to be charged federally. And they could have pressured him into doing so. But instead, it was the other way around. Instead, they were pressured not to really go after Epstein. And again, that is why, my friends, I think the Public Corruption Unit is hip deep in this. Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Manhattan Metropolitan Correctional Center. His death came 1 day after a trove of documents were released from Maxwell's civil defamation suit, which was brought against her by Virginia Roberts in 2015. The documents shed light on Maxwell's alleged role in recruiting girls and young women for Epstein's abuse and taking part in the abuse. And remember, when Epstein was arrested, he was originally charged with conspiracy to traffic. You can't be involved in a conspiracy by yourself, folks, okay? That means there are other participants who are engaging in criminal activity with you or conspiring to do so. So I think it's important that we point that out. I think it's important that we remember that. And I also think it's important to remember that everything that Epstein was wrapped up in, Maxwell is also in up to her chin. So there is a lot more coming here, folks. A lot more coming. Roberts said that Maxwell recruited her around the time of her 17th birthday when Roberts was working as a spa assistant at President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club. Roberts said that in addition to Epstein abusing her, he and Maxwell directed her to have sex with their famous friends, including Prince Andrew, former Senator George Mitchell, and former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, among others. And again, that could be another reason why the Public Corruptions Unit's involved, right? You would think if these guys who are ex-senators, ex-governors, a prince, etc., that would be another reason why this Public Corruptions Unit is taking a lead here. And again, I think that definitely does play into it. But my gut tells me that Florida is the focus for this public corruptions case. Roberts said she was directed to have sex with prominent attorney Alan Dershowitz, who previously defended Epstein, a claim which he has also denied. He and Roberts have sued each other for defamation. The Maxwell suit was settled in 2017. The Herald, among others, has fought for material from the case to be unsealed. Maxwell's appeal of a July decision to unseal her deposition will be heard on September 22nd, and that is when the appeals court will take a look at all of the information provided to them, and they will make their ruling. They will decide which way they're going to go, and they will decide if that information is going to be unsealed for the public to consume. Maxwell has argued that release of her deposition and the deposition of an unnamed John Doe 1 from the Roberts defamation suit will jeopardize her chances of a fair criminal trial. And that is the crux of what we're talking about today, right? And they attempted to make that argument again using the so-called new critical information uncovered, and they were unsuccessful once again. The deposition in that case formed the basis for the 2 perjury charges Maxwell faces in her criminal case. Her lawyers have argued that the deposition was obtained by federal prosecutors in violation of a protective order in the civil case, but federal prosecutors explained in a filing last month how they had obtained the deposition materials. The prosecutors also said that the federal grand jury investigating Epstein and Maxwell's alleged crimes is still active and suggested that more charges could be on the horizon related to their activities. And that's a foregone conclusion as far as I'm concerned. I am 100% convinced that there are going to be more charges in this case for Maxwell and others who were involved. But I think it's important and crucial that we continue to see the courts in multiple venues drop these L's on Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyers. You see, the maneuvering, the loopholing, and all of the behind-the-scenes finessing is not going to work for her this time. It worked in 2008, but this time, everybody is paying attention to what is going on, not only in this case as in on the daily, but what is going on in these courtrooms. Considering what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, you know that the scrutiny is going to be ratcheted up to 100 when it comes time for the trial portion of this case to begin. And I think the court understands that. I think the defense is starting to understand that. And I also believe that the prosecutors understand that, and they're going to drive it all the way home and really put the screws to Ghislaine Maxwell and the rest of the co-conspirators. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. And all of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. All right, folks, I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll start it all over again. I hope you all have a great evening.